Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. That's Joe McGrath. Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1. United just getting beat at home again after another atrocious performance. There's just no redeeming qualities about that performance from the Reds whatsoever. Get involved in the comments and the chat. Let us know what you thought about the game, the goal we conceded, the players. Just give us it all. Let us know your thoughts. Use this as a place to vent. You can have a good vent here. Joe's here. You've got some stats for us, Joe.
Yeah, I mean
we know the most important stat, obviously. The stat is that there was only one goal in the game and we didn't score it. What else have you got for us there, bro?
Just on my personal point of view, I thought all of it was
give us your thoughts.
Absolutely shocking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I just don't even know. I can't even really figure out how Palace beat us. Obviously, the one goal, that was a great finish, cemented their lead, but then what did they really do? When it comes to everything here, shots on target, we had 19 shots overall, 4 on target, so we were getting shots away, we were holding possession well, we had a lot of the ball, but we just didn't do anything with it, and that was the main thing today, was quality. Like, quality was just not there. I talked about Bruno having 12 crosses into United players, only reaching 2, so out of the 12 crosses he did, 2 of them were successful. So the quality just wasn't there. We had the ball, we had crosses, we had passes, we had chances, but the quality from every single United player was just lacking. You might as well have 10% possession, but as long as you make sure the quality is there and you score when you've got it, that's what matters. We had everything, but not quality. Like, I hated watching it because I was thinking, where do we go from here? This isn't a bad day at the office. This is an overall arc of bad performances. But, I don't know, I just don't see any really shining lights to it. A lot of the defenders did themselves proud today in terms of Varane and Lindelof and Lowe. Apart from the, obviously, goal, they were working pretty hard and they're the only ones that you can really applaud today for doing anything. The rest of the players, they've got nothing really to be thankful for. Bruno, off the boil a little bit. Mount seemed all over the place. Casemiro was a bit, he had a really great chance for a header on goal, but should have done better. All of them were just like, what does Ten Hag say?
Thing is, right, with this as well, the manager's got to take some responsibility.
The manager has to take
responsibility. Because, it's like almost every player isn't playing well enough. And Marcus and Bruno today were terrible. And I'm not surprised that Marcus got took off. He rarely subs him when we're chasing the game, but he did today, and with good reason, because he was absolutely woeful. Then you talk about Casemiro. This is a player that is one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. Everyone was waxing lyrical about him when we beat Crystal Palace a few days ago in the Carabao Cup. Yet, I think since he's arrived, there's been question marks. I've been unimpressed, and people go, what are you on about? Casemiro's mint, he's amazing, is this that? He can be. Of course he can. He can be as good as any midfielder I've ever seen, genuinely. He's got that higher ceiling. Yet, he goes missing in games. He doesn't turn up enough. Like, some of his best performances have been in the Carabao Cup. And I think you look at it in the league, he missed, 8 or 9 games last season with suspensions. Comes back, it took him a while to get going. He started the season slower this season. Looked like he was back to his best. Game against Burnley, I thought he did well. And then you look at him against Crystal Palace. Then today again, he's poor. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You cannot rely on Marcus Rashford as your main goal scorer. Yeah. You can't. And we were. And it's not, that's where, you're going to come unstuck because he's not consistently prolific. He isn't. So when he's not scoring and you're looking like, who else is going to turn up? Palestre is only a youngster and it's early doors for him, but you don't even know if he's good enough. And Rasmus Højlund, I actually feel sorry for the kid. Because he's running himself into the ground. He's not really getting the service that he should be getting. Chasing lost causes. He's holding the ball up. He's not really got anyone who's playing off him properly. I just feel like at the minute the team looks a complete and utter shambles, and I think a lot of that has to rest with the manager. He's got to get these players motivated. He's got to come out with the tactics. Somebody in the comments, I'm going to get to the comments in a minute, said, I think it was, let me just go through, there's loads and loads of comments. Sorry. Witterbird says the substitutions was just odd. Alex Pio says Rashford still greeny. Reasonable Doubt says Roy Hodgson 3 wins at Old Trafford. Just on the substitutions front, yeah, some of them I didn't get. I mean, it didn't really affect the game. And we were saying this, me and Ronnie, at half time. The issue I've got as well, a lot of the times under Erik Ten Hag, our second half performance is worse than our first half performance. We've had games where first half has been poor. You come out for the second half and we're even worse. The most obvious example of that was Anfield last season, but it doesn't seem like we were getting it right at half time, and that worries me from a United point of view. Usually Manchester United, you go behind in the first half, you come out for the second half, and you especially at Old Trafford, and you absolutely batter the team in front of you. That just doesn't happen. I'll go through some of the super chats and we'll come back to your stats. Tina Telefson Toka says, people will say Eric Ten Hag is the problem, but the problem starts with the Glazers. They don't effing care, and sacking Ten Hag means new managers same problems, sadly. I agree the Glazers don't care, and I agree they had a problem, and we need to get rid of the Glazers. I've been saying that since 2005, but that doesn't mean that players can't run, can't make an effort, can't play a simple pass.
Yep.
Yes, the Glazers need to go, and the club rots from the top down, but some of those performances today were absolutely abysmal, and you can't blame all that on the Glazers. Maya Rametta says, this is not a team, but 11 strangers playing together. Midweek, we look better, a more cohesive team without Bruno and Rashi there. Yes, we did, but also, Palace played a weakened team. They had a much better team out today. It's worth noting. Jay Frasconi says, Eric Ten Hag and the players will be blamed for this season's failures, as if this is new, but this has been happening for a decade. Different players and different managers. The problem is the owners and their culture. Until that changes, this is United. Akesh Solomon, that's a great point, by the way, Jay Frasconi. Akesh Solomon says, Mount looked pretty good, to be honest, but Bruno, Rashford and Palestri non-existent. Glaring issue of no one able to carry the ball from centre-backs through the thirds. Mount might 93. Year on year, some players are still here and aren't playing right at all. And let's be honest, this squad is not going to get... He's going to get Ten Hag the sack, and it's not right. Give it to Mike. He says, 5 managers, same old problems, persist at some point. We have to face the problems, go way deeper. Rune Tofflin says, not playing to Rash Hoyland's strengths. Every counter is 10 seconds to develop. We hesitate so much. Eric Ten Hag mistakes. Bring McTominay for headers. Carrick in. Sean Thomas says, how will you lot blame McTominay now? It's not McTominay's fault. And listen, we don't single him out, but when he's been playing this season, he's been terrible. And if you think I'm lying, go and watch the performances. Joshua Hong says, toothless, all of them look lost this United. Give me some stats which just reiterate how poor that game was, because I'm sure it will.
Yeah, so the stats are just... the thing is, what I was mentioning before, and just picking up on your Hoyland point there, a stat about Hoyland at United. I mean, he's had 6 appearances, but most of them are defeats, unfortunately. Arsenal, defeat. Brighton, defeat. Bayern, defeat. Palace, defeat. This isn't the start you'd want a youngster like Hoyland to have at Old Trafford. You want him to be flourishing. You want him to be part of a team that are scoring goals. You want him to feel comfortable. So the weight of the world is now both on Rashford's shoulders, which we know sometimes he can't cope with, but now also on Hoyland's shoulders. They aren't mature enough yet, especially Hoyland at the age of 20, to really take on that incredible pressure. And I just worry about the long-term effects there for Hoyland. I hope that he's being well coached, well managed. Hoyland, though, and Garnacho being the most deadly in front of goal for us with the most shots, but Rashford nowhere to be seen there. Bruno's getting a lot of the ball in the attacking third, and he's the most up there for our crosses and corners. But again, sometimes when Bruno's not on the boil, it feels like we suffer as a team, because he can provide a lot of quality. He did have an incredible shot on target, which was saved by Sam Johnson.
Just on that though, Joe, you say he did have an incredible shot on target. He did, but it was one of those where the keeper has to save it.
Yeah, like, it was a great kick.
It was almost straight at him. I mean, he hit it well, but the only way that doesn't go in is if Sam Johnson doesn't jump or jumps out of the way. So I understand your point, but I just thought from today, like Marcus Rashford is a guy that dropped 30 goals last season. I've stuck up for Marcus, defended him, praised him probably more than anyone on this channel, or certainly as much as anyone on this channel. But today, that was one of his worst ever performances for Manchester United. He was terrible. Bruno Fernandes is another one who I've always praised. I think he's been a phenomenal signing. I think he's been our best signing post-Fergie. But today, again, woeful. Nothing about that was a captain's performance. And Casemiro's the other one I'm going to throw into that mix. And the reason I throw him into that mix is because we know what he's capable of. We saw it in the midweek. But I'm sick of sort of saying about Casemiro is how well he can play. So I'll see some consistency.
Yeah,
show us some consistency. You know, but there's parts of that first half when Casemiro, his decision making was just beyond belief. It really was. And this is a player that's won 5 Champions Leagues. So
he's a player who's old. He's great. You know, he's won 5 Champions Leagues, and I worry that certain players come to Old Trafford in their sort of August of their career and maybe just see it as a place where, I'm not saying this is Casemiro indefinitely, but you know, we pay good money. We're in a position where we just like his quality, but does he really care? He's won what he's won now. Does he see his time at United where we're going to go win a Premier League? I don't know, because I feel like he'd be more frustrated with himself if that was the case. I might be talking rubbish there, but I'm just looking at some players' heads and thinking, have they won, like Casemiro and Varane, have they had their best of their career? Now is United just a place for them to sort of fizzle out? And
I think Varane puts in the effort. I do think Varane tries. I think Varane's problem is his body's letting him down. I don't think he's fully fit. I think he gets injured a lot. I think with Casemiro, I don't know, man. I used to think it took him a while to get going because that was a problem he had at Madrid, but it's so inconsistent. It really is. It's so frustrating. Tom Hill says this isn't on individual successful managers bringing a style of play, and this isn't on individual successful managers bringing a style of play, and after over a year, Erik ten Hag has brought nothing like that. Strict rules aren't going to win leagues. Can't give Erik ten Hag 3 years like this. I mean, you can sack Erik ten Hag, right, and then bring in a caretaker manager, and it'll just be the same cycle that we've been on.
And who
comes in now? You probably sack ten Hag, and it'll be something like Steve McLaren. Steve McLaren will take over, right, and then he'll be caretaker manager, and then you'll bring in, I don't know, but some other manager will come in, whoever's flavour of the month or whoever, whoever's doing all right and doing a bit of a surprise package. They'll go, something like De Zerbi's people were saying. I know he got 6-1 today, but I'm just using it as an example. He'll come in and people go, De Zerbi's going to turn everything around, and then we'll have a little bit of a bump where we have a good season or a good sort of 7 months or whatever, and then the wheels will come off again, and it'll be another caretaker, another change. You just got to change the culture at the club, and a lot of that is from the top down. But also, these players have got to look at themselves. There's a lot of players there, right? We'll talk about this every week. If you look at Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, you come into like the peak of your career.
You want to be winning stuff.
What have you won? You've won 1 trophy in 6 years.
What
do you do?
I like to think of trying. I know we can. This is the preview of the game, and that's what this video is for. We also got to think of what are the solutions here. What are we going to do going forward? Because we've got to change something in the Premier League. We can't have back-to-back defeats. First time since 2021. So it's been it's an odd thing to get back-to-back defeats at Old Trafford. So that's and that is worrying, because what helped us last year was our home record was phenomenal. So we'd always have that. Considering our away record was poor, we'd always have results at Old Trafford. Now that's not there, and now the away results are still as bad. Where is the silver lining in all this?
I don't know, bro. That's
through
the thing.
To the next round of the Carabao Cup.
This is the thing. It's like we've spent £500 million to win a Carabao Cup. Like, that's the plan. We'll spend hundreds of millions each summer under Ten Hag, and at the end of it, we'll have a Carabao Cup, hopefully. Like, come on, we should be challenging for titles, and I don't think we're any nearer to challenging to a title now than we were when we sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Genuinely. Are we better now than we were then? Maybe, marginally. We've got better players, I'd argue. I think a lot of them are missing it for injury, obviously. But we're nowhere closer to a title than we were then, are we? We're not gonna win a title this season. It's September, right? And we already know for a fact that we are not winning a title. That is amazing to me, that how we can be sat here as Manchester United fans in September and we already know that the title race for us is over, and we can just sit and watch Arsenal, City and Liverpool go in a title race, which I'd rather sit and watch a Mrs. Brown Boys omnibus. I really would.
Quite like it, mate. There was United fans.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard on this channel.
There was United fans that thought we were, and this is serious, United fans thought, and I was with them, we were 2 signings off, a midfielder and a defender, and say Harry Kane away from winning the title.
Rio Ferdinand sat there where you were sitting and said, if we get Harry Kane, it could be like our Van Persie. And me and Joe were talking about this the other day. You could get Harry Kane, right? And we had Harry Kane now, we might be 8th. Or maybe 7th.
So what is
unless Harry Kane can play in defence, midfield and score goals at the same time. No. And even if you brought in a defender, that defender can't play in all 4 defensive positions. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like, if we'll be honest, right, Lisandro Martinez makes a massive difference to this team. A fully fit Lisandro Martinez, because he hasn't been fully fit. Him coming back in this team, and I know we're going to have to wait, will make a difference. That will be a huge positive, right? I'm not dismissing that. Also, one of Jadon Sancho or Anthony coming back into the team, they're just the better players than Palestra. I like Palestra, but they're just better. So them coming into the team is going to be a positive. Then you've got other players who I think could make a difference as well. Kobe Mainoo probably gets minutes. Hannibal, I know he's not injured, he didn't play today. He's another player that you could probably play and get a tune out of. But by and large, Luke Shaw has been very good usually for Eric Ten Hag. He's a big player there. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's another one. But a lot of these players, the sort of, they're making us a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like, if you swap Palestri for Anthony, it makes you a little bit better. If you swap Wan-Bissaka for Delo, it might make you a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's suddenly you're hugely better and that's your title race sorted. You're not. We're still miles away. Sam Z says Glazers are ultimately to blame, but logically speaking, Eric Ten Hag is products of Glazers' structure. If club souls, I doubt new owners will keep him. They won't. New owners will not. They will. No way, right? Whoever it's Jim Ratcliffe or it's Sheikh Jassim, they keep Eric Ten Hag. I'm sorry. I just think they're going to bring in their own man, and it's sad because I quite like Eric Ten Hag, and I think if he actually had players that gave a toss, he'd be all right.
Do you really
but
think
I think he what?
That if we get a new owner, they just get rid of Ten Hag.
100%.
Really?
The only way that doesn't happen is if new owners come in, say the end of the season. By the end of the season, he's won another trophy, or he's turned this around. I think if we were to get new owners next month, and this was carrying on, I think they'd get rid of him. And I don't think there'd be that much of a backlash.
It's such a crazy circumstance for Ten Hag, then, isn't it? That to know that the longer the club owners, who the fans hate, the longer they stay, the longer you are in a job, because if new ones come in and you're still not doing as well as you should do, you're done. That must be a very hard mindset.
The trouble is as well, right? With Eric Ten Hag, and I like Eric Ten Hag. I don't want us to sack him. I would stick with him to the end of the season. I would. And I know
100%.
I know people will be going, Jay, you mad? Look at the football, whatever. But I'm not Eric Ten Hag out. I'm not. But you watch someone like Ange Postecoglou. He's gone into Spurs, lost his best player, spent the money wisely, plays a certain style where you can see what he's doing, has charisma, like in press conferences and stuff. People go, it doesn't matter. People buy into that. They do. People buy into a personality.
Yeah.
And when you're going, oh, I like him, the players are all happy, he's as a manager knows what he's doing, it's a happy camp, football's good to watch, we're competitive against all the best teams. Do you know what I mean? They went away to the Emirates and they didn't give up. Do you know what I mean? We lost at the Emirates, and I know we were unlucky with decisions.
Oh, but we were
but we still lost. They went behind twice and walked away with a point.
What about the penalty shout today? The handball?
I thought it should have been a penalty, but again, I know it sounds like, and I've said, when decisions don't go your way, that matters, and it does. But the fact of the matter is, that is still a poor performance by Manchester United.
Yeah, it is still a poor performance.
You mentioned the Bruno shot that for me, he's got to save that. There was a Højlund header, again, straight at him. There was the one that went across the goal where I think the last two touches were from Palace players. There wasn't, for me, a sitter or an obvious one or a world-class save. In 95 minutes against Crystal Palace, we had 2 shots on target, I think, you'll have the stats, that were more or less straight at the keeper. Like, that's not good enough.
I've locked myself out.
No, it's just not. I've got some comments here. Ben Simmons says, petulant players that need to be mollycoddled by multiple managers that foolishly think they would die for the badge for a club run by leeches. Rune Toffland says, if Crystal Palace didn't score, we'd draw the game. Sean Thomas says, drop Rashford and Bruno. Everyone else is dross. I mean, the trouble is, right, you could drop Rashford and Bruno. You could, yeah. But then, Garnacho, when he started, hasn't set the world alight from when he started. I think he's much better off the bench. You could drop Bruno and play Mount, Casemiro and Hannibal as your midfield. But has Mount done loads where you think he's going to start coming up with the numbers that you want, or create the chances or get the goals or dictate the play? Is that going to change? Has Eriksen been streets ahead of Bruno this season? I don't think he has. Do you know what I mean? So even though I understand the point of view where people going, drop this player or drop that player or change it or mix it up, I do think if you consistently play badly for Manchester United, sooner or later you have to be dropped. But I don't see that the other options, the other alternatives, are guaranteed to be much better, because we've done all this before. We've been here before. We've gone, Donny van de Beek needs to start, and when he does start, he does nothing or he gets injured. Drop so and so, bring in this player, and we do that. Drop, I don't know. Palestri's a good example. Palestri needs to start. And I like the kid. He's only young, but he's played what? Is it 3 games now? He's done now. Like, but against being a bit harsh there against Palace in the Carabao Cup, he was all right. But Bayern Munich, fair enough. Bayern Munich away, it's a very difficult game. Didn't really do a lot. not easy when you're up against Alphonso Davies as well. But today was a great opportunity for him, and he didn't do anything. Literally didn't do anything, really, did he? And I feel like he's not really taking his opportunities. Sean Thomas says, it's simply about keeping people honest. Drop them. Fear of all sums says, too many number 10s, remember that. James says, it's easy to support your team when they're winning. When we're losing is when stand by the manager. Don't lose focus now. Glazers go. Players will come fit again. Trust the manager, up the Reds. Yep. Mayor Amateur says, one problem is that we have players who are more of a counter-attackers and not really possession-based. Navigating tight spaces in a low block is a skill by itself, and our players just don't seem to have it. Arcade Machine says, I don't think Eric Ten Hag takes enough risk with the team. I really like him, but at times you have to say, bun this, let's try something else. Yeah, I mean, I think his substitutions just leave a lot to be desired, and I think that's since he's been there, to be honest with you. I like Eric Ten Hag, but that's one big criticism of having him. His substitutions have been poor. Sigmund Judge says, I've been more of a fan of this channel than I have the team, and that's been the case since Full-Time Devils. Until under new owners, this club is finished. I agree with that, Sigmund, and thank you for your support. Porgus DA says, I love Eric Ten Hag. Witterbird says, what's the biggest problem? I don't know, is the culture of the club, the atmosphere, the
chemistry of the players. They don't seem to have
the philosophy. What do you call it?
Yeah, there's something.
It's like throughout the entire team, club, whatever. There just seems to be this malaise going on, and I don't think all this drama helps either.
No,
I don't think this, Mason Greenwood drama, then it's Anthony drama, and it's Sancho drama. I know it's different reasons. I'm not saying they're the same reasons. I get it, but that can't help. Jagan G says, waiting for Stephen Alson to chat about how many chances Bruno created and related stats. Have you got any stats for us there?
What about Bruno himself?
Yeah, have you got any stats? Have you got to give us some stats? I'm all about stats.
Yeah, listen, stats. That's what I'm about these days, since I've got this new little iPad in front of me.
Arthur Sinaga says, can you guys help me understand why Medjugorje didn't play? One of our standout players in the last 2 games and won both of them. Dropped him and we lost. Shocking, I agree.
Well, Bruno Fernandes was the best player on United for chances created. 3 chances created. He was the most influential player in the final third for United. Most passes in the final third, 30 successful out of 41. We talked about his crosses before. He had 12 crosses into the box. Only 2 were successful. So we spoke about how disappointing that sort of is. You look at that as a success rate. It's just not good enough. If he's our main man, you've got to say at least half of those crosses have got to be found a United player. Yeah. Especially when you've got Højlund and Rashford in there, and then Martial already came on a little bit later on. Also as well, Bruno getting involved in the most passes overall and shots on target, although his shots...
Watermelon Man says, this team's been spoiling my weekend since 2011. Since 2011?
Nah, we did all right in 2011.
Then we won the league in 2011.
Sure we did. 2012 City won it, then we won it again. Kill your beans.
Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, Joe. Thanks for that.
I broke the iPad again.
You broke the iPad. Don't blame you, mate.
I can tell you exactly what Rafael Varane did in the entire game.
Go on then. Tell me what
Well, he was pretty good. Out of all, he was one of our best players today for Varane. I think if there was a man of the match for the losing team, he'd win. 111 passes. 119 passes, 111 successful. So only 8 off the boil there.
Make sure, if you're not doing, you subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all your support, but do hit that subscribe button. We'll get some post-match reaction from all the usual suspects as well. That's been Joe McGrath. Joe, where can people find you?
Oh, just find us on the Sloppy Joes if you fancy a little pick-me-up today. If you need a cheering up on a Saturday.
I think we all need a cheering up after that absolutely disgraceful performance by Manchester United, losing
tonight
at home 1-0 to Crystal Palace.
The Chorus won't taste the same.
That's been Joe McGrath. I've been JY. Thanks for watching.